Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Net Crochet Tejido. Today I'm going to teach you how to knit this beautiful design of mine. It's super easy to do. I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And here is the list of material you're going to need to make it. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and click on the little bell. That way you get notification each time I upload a video. Remember, I make my videos in Spanish and English. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to see in English, go to the main page of my YouTube channel that you'll find the English version in there. Also, you can send me a message and I will send you the link. To make this design, I'm going to use 3 balls of 85 meter yarn. So if you want to make this longer, you're going to need more than 3. For this design, these are the material I'm going to use. This one is the Lustron thread Charisma Heather, 85 grams, 100% acrylic. The color is red and it's bulky 5. It's a beautiful color. The netting needles are US 19 or 15 millimeters. I have these beautiful buttons that I don't know yet if I'm going to use them or not. But I made these beautiful buttons. I already have the tutorial on how to make them. Now I can recommend the tutorial for the buttons. Look how gorgeous they are. I absolutely love them. I have these 4. And white in the back and colorful on the front. I have these big pin to put some stitches on waiting. If you don't have one of these, you can put them in a piece of yarn. I have this round counter to keep track of the rows, and you're gonna need a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil to write down, to keep note what you do in the back, how many stitches you will have to do for the front. So it's good to have something to write on. And you're gonna need tapestry needle and scissor. We're gonna start by leaving a tail long enough to cast on your stitches. I'm gonna cast on for mine 32, but you can cast on 30. You can cast on 34, 36, 38, depending on the size that you want to make your piece. Mine gonna be a medium that will fit a small as well. So that depends on the size that you're making is the amount of stitches that you're gonna cast on. So you're gonna do a slip knot and start casting on your stitches. You'll cast on whichever way is the easiest for you to cast on. I like to do the long tail cast on. Once I have my stitches, I will measure here. And remember, I'm working with a thick yarn and a big size netting needle, so that will make the stitches bigger, so you will work faster, and the piece with little stitches, it will be big. If you make this with a medium 4 yarn and a smaller size needle, what you're doing, it will be like a little baby size, because 32 stitches, it will be like this. If you want to make a baby size one, you can do that as well. That's a good idea. I thought about it just right now. But if you want this one for an adult size, and then you need bulky yarn and big size needle. If you have the big size needle but you don't have bulky yarn, you can use 2 strands of yarn, a medium 4, and then you have your bulky yarn just right there. Once you finish casting on your stitches and you do a knot to secure your work, you're gonna do 6 rows of purl. So you're gonna come here and then you're gonna purl 6 rows. Purl in the right side and purl in the wrong side. I finished my 6th row of border, and I will be like this. Now we're gonna work the body, and this is the back part. So we're gonna net in the right side and purl in the wrong side. So this is the right side, you will net and purl on the way back, and you're gonna work this until you have the desired length, until where you gonna do the sleeve under the arm. So mine will be around 18 centimeter, 19 centimeter, and you have to finish when you do a row purl, and then you want to work on the right side. I already keep track here in this notebook. That way, when it's time to do the front, I have everything here. That way I know every detail that I have to do for the front. So I did my 6th row of purl, what I have in Spanish there, and then now I'm gonna do net in the right side, purl in the wrong side for around 18 centimeters. I have to finish in the wrong side, and then when I have to work doing the sleeve, I will start in the right side of the piece. So the length is up to you, the length that you want. So that's the length that I'm going to give to mine, around 19 centimeters, give or take. And I have to keep track of those amount of rows that I'm going to do. Not just the length by centimeter, just the rows as well, because we had to do the same amount of rows for the front. That way they're nice and even. So that to look like this. And this is a very fast piece to do. So like that, you're going to continue net on the right side, purl on the wrong side until you have the desired length. For me, 18 to 19 centimeters, measuring from this border. So I will work off camera, and then when I have that length, I will measure here and I'll let you know how many rows I did. I'm working with these short needles because it's easier for me to record, but this is quite wide like I show you. After, when we start increasing the stitches for the sleeve, I will have to use this longer one that is the same size, 15 millimeter US 19. You see, it will be much easier for me to have more stitches in this one. For this one, they are too short. So I'm gonna work off camera, and I will measure here when I have the length that I want for mine. And remember, you have to measure from the border. Here I have the length, and I give a little bit more. I gave 21 centimeter from here, from the border. I did 14 rows for this part, net in the right side and purl on the wrong side, plus these 6. So in total I have 20. So I only counting this one for the body and this one separate for the border. Now I'm gonna add the sleeve. For the sleeve, you're gonna give the length that you want. It could be like this, can be like that, long sleeve, but depend how many stitches you want to increase on your needle. For mine, from 18 to 20 stitches I'm gonna increase. So you're gonna come here, you're gonna grab this first stitch and you're gonna flip it back like that. You're gonna pull it, and then in this front strand you're gonna do a purl, and then you're gonna place it back into your needle. But before I do that, I'm gonna place a marker. That way it's easier for me to keep track of the stitches that I'm gonna increase for the sleeve. So that's 1. I purl that stitch again, and then instead of keeping it here, I place it back in the needle. That's 2, and like that you're gonna continue increasing until you have the desired length for your sleeve. I got done 18 stitches. Now we're gonna work and that sleeve, the body, and then when we get to the other side we're gonna increase the stitches for the other sleeve, those 18 stitches. But at that point I will have to change to my longer needle because I don't think I can keep all these stitches in these short ones. Now I'm gonna purl 6 stitches. I will place a marker and then I will net the rest. And the marker that I'm gonna place is a little piece of strand of yarn. That way I mark those 6 stitches. Those 6 stitches always will be purl. Purl on the right side and purl on the wrong side. That's the border for the sleeve. So depending on the length that you give your sleeve is the amount that you have to net after. Now I know that these sections always purl on the right side and the wrong side. Now I'm gonna net these 12 stitches plus the one for the body until the end. I finished that row, and don't forget to count that row. That row was number 15, so now we're going to work in 16. And remember, I'm only counting from here up, no, the border stitches. The border stitches was those 6 rows separate. So we're gonna increase the other side of the sleeve. And I didn't realize that row I should have done it with a longer size needle, that way I can fit all my stitches, but I had to squeeze this here in order to fit those other stitches. And I'm gonna try to work with a long needle to cast on my stitches. So the first one you're gonna do exactly the same. You're gonna bring it in and twist it, and then I'm gonna place this marker, and I'm gonna cast on those 18 stitches as purls. All the amount that you did for the other side. So once you have your stitches, you will purl 6 and place a marker, and then you purl the rest of the stitches. And the wrong side, all the stitches always will be purl, but on the right side you'll have 6 purl, all the rest net until you get to the marker, and then you purl the last 6 for the little border of the sleeve. Like that, you're going to continue purl on the wrong side and netting and purl in the right side until you have like 18 centimeter. When you have your 18 centimeter, I will meet you here. But you're going to continue casting on your stitches exactly the same as you did on the other side. I have my 18 stitches. I don't know if before I say 16 or 18, but there are 18 stitches. I'm gonna purl my 6 stitches, place the marker, purl the other 12, remove this marker, and then continue purl until the end, because I don't gonna need this one in there. So now you're gonna continue doing this until you have 18 centimeter measuring from the border of the sleeve, because you already have 21 in the body. So now you have to do 18 from this border. If you find that the sleeve will be too long, you want it shorter, you can do 10 stitches and do those 10 stitches all purl. It will look nice as well. So I only measure here when I have my 18 centimeter measuring from the border of the sleeve. And don't forget to keep track of the amount of rows that you're doing, because you need those amount for when you're working in the front piece. Until here I use 1 ball of yarn. Remember, they are not that big, they are 85. And all of these I use 1 ball, my first ball of yarn. Remember, they are only 85 grams, 85 meters, so they are not that big. So I'm gonna start with the next one. So I'm gonna leave that tail, leave a little tail to tie a knot. I'm gonna do a couple of purls. And then I will attach this to do a knot with these two. And then I will continue working until I have my 18 centimeters from here. This is what I've done so far. I still have to work a few more rows before I have my 18 centimeters. I just wanted to show you what I've done, and that way you can see the length. Remember, if you want this longer, you have to do more rows before you increase the stitches for the sleeve. And the sleeve is not that short. I don't want to move the stitches too much, but you see it's a nice, probably will be around here, the length of the sleeve. So I'm loving it so far. So we're working these in one piece, so working everything at once. I finished the back part of our piece. Now we're gonna work on the front. We're gonna separate the sleeve and one shoulder, and then cast off or bind off the center for the back of the neck, and then work on the other side of the shoulder and sleeve for the front. So far I've done 30 rows from this. We have 68 stitches on total, so we're gonna cast off 8 stitches in the center for the back of the neck. So we're gonna have 30 in one side and 30 in the other one, the 18 for the sleeve plus 12 for the shoulder. So you're gonna work your 6 border stitches, you're gonna work 20 for net, that will be your 30 stitches. I just wanted to mention, you hear my voice a little bit different, is that with the weather change I always get a little bit of a sniffle, allergy, sinus, and my voice get a little bit raspy. It's already 9, you know, the temperature is 9 outside, so I always get like this time of year. I just wanted to mention that just in case you hear me sneeze or anything recording. Remember, you have to work 30 stitches, 6 border stitch plus 24 net. Here I have my 30 stitches, my 6 border stitches, my 24 net. Now to cast off your 8 stitches, you're gonna net 2, 1 and 2, and you're gonna pass the first one on top of the second one and cast it off. And that's your first cast off stitch or bind off. And then you net another one, and then that one you pass it over and out. You have 2, and like that you're gonna continue until you have cast off 8 stitches, and you have to count that you have 30 stitches left in this needle. Really, you have to have 29 in this one, and the last one, number 30, is this one that you have in this needle. So if you pass this one to this side, let me pull this is a working yarn, you will have 30 stitches in here. Now these 30 stitches, you will place them in one of these, or you grab a strand of yarn with a tapestry needle, you will pass them all through, make sure that you don't drop any, tie a knot, leave it to the side, and then you will work later with those, because we're going to work on this side first. So I finished that row, and that row counts at the first row at the front piece. I did 30 rows before I did this one to cast off the stitches, so I have to have the same amount of row for the front, that way they are the same length. So you can count this one as row 31 of the 60, 30 and 30, 60, or you can start counting this one as the first one of the 30 that you have to do. But remember, after you fold it in half and you have the same 18 centimeters for the sleeve, you will cast off those 18 stitches, and then you work on the other 12 stitches for the front piece. But I will explain everything as I go, because I like to give you all the details. That way you can make this piece. Sometimes I get some comment, that I talk too much, but it's that I like to explain really well my work, that way anybody can do it. I hope I'm not getting you confused. But so I finished that row. Now I'm gonna purl until the end, and I will meet you here to show you what you're gonna do in the front. I finished the purl row, and I start counting as row 1 and 2 for my sleeve. For this part that I done, I did 16 row. Well, now I have 18 with those 2 that I just did, but I mark that I did 2 rows. I'm gonna start from row 1 to 30. That way I do 16 for the sleeve. That's what I did for my sleeve, because it's gonna be a loose sleeve, and 14 for the rest of the body. So I'm gonna continue counting here. When I have my 16th row, I will cast off those 18 stitches, and then I will continue with those extra stitches for the front. So I just wanted to mention that. So here I'm gonna purl 4 border stitches on the front. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm gonna net all the way until here, and then I will do the 6 border stitch. And the way back I will purl all the stitches, and then in the front I will purl 4, I will net all this one, and then purl the rest. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this for 14 more rows because I already done 2, and then I will measure here to cast off the 18 stitches of the sleeve. So I hope you guys understand you know, what I'm doing, that you guys are not confused. Remember, you have to have the same amount of row for the front of the sleeve and back. That way when you fold it here and the shoulder, they will be the same length. So I'll continue working. Remember, 4 purl, net, and purl at the end. That's in the right side, and then the wrong side is all purls. So I did the 16th row plus 1 more, 17. In order to cast off my stitches, I have to be in this border. So I'm gonna cast off or bind off 18 stitches. So the rest 12 I will continue working for 14 row, and that will be for border stitches and 8 knits in the right side and purl on the wrong side. So I finished the casting off. I have 11 stitches here plus this one is 12, and I'll continue working the stitches as you're supposed to, as you've been doing so far. Purl on the wrong side, and then the right side purl 4 and net 8, and you will continue working until you have the length until here, and then you'll do the 6th row of border of purl in both front and back side of the piece. So once you cast off the sleeve, it will look like this. Let me put this even in here. It will look like this. And then you look the rest. Here I have the 30 rows. Now I have to do the 6th row of purl. Purl on the right side and purl on the wrong side. So far I used 2 balls of yarn. This is what I have left, and I left it till long enough. I hope it's long enough to sew this and here, and this is what you've done so far. So now with the next one, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna start from the wrong side out, because when we did this to cast off our stitches, we did that row, and then in here we did that row, and then we came back, and so now we have to go that way. So you start here, you will purl this row, and then in the right side again you will do your 6 purl, you do the net, and then the 4 purls at the end for the border like this one. You'll do exactly the same as you did for this one, for this sleeve. You continue exactly the same, but in the other one, and then you will do the rest as well, exactly the same, and you end up with the two sides exactly the same. So remember, you have to start from the inside out and do the same amount of rows that you did. Remember that row that you did here is already number 1, so you have to go back with number 2 and so on. I have all the stitch in the needle, but you have a separation between this stitch and this one. That's the first one that you cast off or bind off. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna pass under this strand, you're gonna pass that one, and then you're gonna place it on your needle, and then this one you're gonna cast off, and like that you close the separation. You have to pull this a little bit to make it smaller, and then now you can purl all the stitches, and then you will net purl 6, net, and then these 4 you will purl for the border. I'm gonna work in row 3, you see, in the right side of the piece. I'm gonna continue exactly as I did in the other one. I'm gonna cast off the sleeve and work on the front, and I will meet you here when I'm done this side, and then it's to sew the piece together. I have the length of the sleeve. Now I'm gonna cast off or bind off my stitches, and I have to do it in row 17 because otherwise we'll have them in this side, the stitches. So for the other one we cast off with purl stitches. Now we're gonna do with net stitches because we want to have exactly the same in this side as the other sleeve, because when you cast with purl in the front is net, so we're casting off in the right side, so you have to cast off with net. So you'll net you cast off 18 and leave the other 12 to continue the front. I'm gonna cast off or bind off these stitches, and for this one to be exactly the same as this one you have to do them purl, you know, cast off as purl. So I wasn't paying attention, and look at the mistake I have here. I have a big mistake all the way here from all the way down here. And you know what happened? Since I don't place this little thing back when I was working the purl, I thought I was working the purl on this side, and that's why I started doing 4. And I continue with the 4 without realizing that I was doing 4 on both sides. So I had that mistake in there. You know, the easiest way is just to sew everything and leave it like this. But I know myself, and I don't like to leave a mistake like that. So I will remove that, and then I will fix it, and then I will knit all that again, and then I will do the sewing. I don't know if this is exactly straight, but I know I don't want to lose all my stitches, but I'm very careful sometimes when I make a mistake that I have to undo something. I'm very careful not to go right into the last row that I have to undo, because I like to keep an eye that I don't want to remove more than I have to. So if you have to do something like this, you'll use this, or you can use a thinner knitting needle or a tapestry needle with a string or a piece of yarn, and then you pass it through and tie a knot and put it in. But I know you don't make this mistake because you're not watching the series like me. Oh, dear Lord. So I have to keep in mind that I have to know how many rows I have to do again for the sleeve. So this is row 17, so very slow I will frog these rows and I'll count them. That way I know how many I have to do again before I cast off my sleeve, before I have the 17. In total was 7 rows that I undo from the sleeve, but this time I'm gonna mark my border stitches because I don't want to make the same mistake. So I will do 6, and number 7 is the one that I will have to cast off the sleeve stitches. Once you finish, it will look like this, and this as a long cardigan it will look amazing. Just for the tutorial purpose I do them short, that way I don't have to be knitting too long, but they look really nice. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna sew this until this borders the sleeve, and the same on the other side. I love them. I finished sewing this side and the sleeves, and I try it on and I absolutely love it. The sleeve is like here, like 3/4 sleeve, and it looks really nice. Now if you want to leave this like this with no buttons or anything, you can leave like this. It looks perfect. You will try it on and you will see what I mean. But if you want to put some buttons, you can do that as well. So I created this double loop with a crochet hook. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this one in here, and then I'm going to place a button right on top like so, and then I'm going to sew the other button on the other side, and then this one will open and close the buttons in here. After I do that, I will try it again and see if I had to do another one like this and here, but no more than these 4 buttons and not too high up. It had to be here because this is a short, like a little blazer, short blazer or little short cardigan or sweater. So if you want to make this bigger, this is like a size a small to a medium. I'm a medium, and when I put it on it's like this, and I still have enough space that I can close like that. If I like to just do one button in here, I can do that as well, just with one button here on the top. You can pass it through any of these loops like this. You can do that. If you want to make this large and bigger, you have to cast on more stitches when you start the first part, the back, and you can guide yourself. You can divide the stitches as you go, you know, a little more for one side, a little more for the other one, as those extra, and you can do, and instead of 8 stitches in here, you can do 10, you know, to make a little bit wider in there. Also for the length of the sleeve, you can do longer, you can do shorter, put more stitches or less. And for the length of the piece as well, you can do more rows, and you can do long and do some more buttons instead of just a few. But I don't can put the buttons too high because these have to be just in here because my breasts are on there, so you don't can have the buttons too high. So I'm going to show you how I did this with a crochet hook, just in case you want to create these little loops. With a crochet hook, I did a slip knot, and this one is a 3mm. I don't want the chain to be too loose, so I got a small crochet hook. So I'm going to do 16 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then number 11, you're going to do a single crochet. And now you have 5 chains left, and you're going to do 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you're going to come to the first one, and do a slip stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, leaving a tail, and you're going to pass it through, and you created these loops. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to sew this with one of the tails, and with the other one I'm going to pass it through the button, and I will sew the button there in that place, and that one don't gonna move or anything. That one will be attached to the piece, and this one gonna be loose, and then I will sew the other button in the other side, and that one is the one that open and close. So this is what I have left of the third ball of yarn. So with 385 grams, 85 meters ball, you can make this little blazer, short cardigan, or sweater. You know, it's really, really nice. And this fit a little girl as well. Well, not that little, a young girl. And if you do that for a younger girl that have less chest, you can do another 2 more buttons in here, exactly like those, and here, and it will look really nice as well. But for me, like this is perfect. Those two. So I put the handmade tag and I'm gonna put it in the mannequin and I will show you the end result. Well, this is the end result and I absolutely love the way I look. My mannequin is a small size and it fit perfect. I'm a medium size and it fit me perfect as well. I love the way I feel, very comfy, very soft and cozy. It's super easy to do. It's all done in one piece. So much easier. I don't think I can make it. So I hope you guys like it and give a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And if you make this beautiful design of mine and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Crochet Tejido, or my Instagram, Ruby Crochet Tejido. Please share my video with friends and family and in groups. That way you help me grow here in YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.